You guys, it is my favorite day again. I got another mystery box. I'm so excited for today's collab. It is another mystery box challenge. You are not gonna wanna miss it. So stay tuned to see what in the world is in this box and what crazy stuff I have to DIY with this time. So my box came from Shannon over at the Daily DIYer, and I am both so excited and so scared to open this box. I feel like she is really good at finding challenge items and I'm scared about that, but then also I feel like she finds really good stuff at stores, so there could be great stuff in here. So I have mixed emotions, but while I'm cracking this open, let me tell you about the mystery box collab, just in case you're new or you want a quick refresher. The DIY mystery box challenge was created and organized by Courtney over at Creative on the Cheap. You've heard me talk about her a ton of times. I absolutely love Courtney. On the off chance that you haven't heard me talk about her, her channel is awesome. If you like my content, you will absolutely love hers. Courtney gathers a group of DIY YouTubers. She creates a list, so it's kind of like Secret Santa. So it says, okay, this person send your box to Whitney, Whitney send your box to this person, and it's a big loop so you can watch all of the videos. And each month there has been just a couple rules and different challenges. So this time you had to go to Walmart and spend $20 to $30 on items, put them in a box, and then you had to have 2 challenge items. One had to be just something crazy to craft with, and then the second one had to be a project that you either completed or was working on, then you just send it off to the next person. So I'm interested to see what Shannon grabbed for that, because that was hard for me. My box went over to Kristen at Kristen K, so you'll have to check out her video after this. I love the challenge item I sent and I cannot wait to see what she did with it, because she either hates me or she's probably mad at me, but that's okay. Sorry, Kristen. So a little bit about Shannon, who sent me this box from the Daily DIYer. I've been watching Shannon's channel literally for years. I was a huge fan of all of her projects before I started my own channel. I have literally canvas drop cloth curtains in my house because she had a tutorial on how to do them, and so it's such a cool moment when I get to collab with her because she has just been a huge inspiration to me. She also has a second channel which is also part of this collab, which is called The Cozy Christmas Cottage, so you'll want to be sure to check out the full playlist so you can check out all of those different items. So now we're gonna bust into this box. I'm gonna share with you what I got, and then we're gonna game plan on how we're gonna DIY with this stuff. Here's the box. Oh, that's a fun card, little flamingo. So it says, "Hi Whitney, I love watching all the creative things you make. I know you'll rock this challenge and I hope you like the fun things I picked out for you, especially the challenge items." Is this foreboding, Shannon? Am I gonna like the challenge items? We're gonna save those till the end because those are usually super hard. Oh, this is cute. Okay, so here is a metal sign. If I hold it back, that's really cute. That looks like something I would definitely buy on my own, so that's really cute. I haven't seen that at Walmart. Oh, we've got 2 challenge items plus the started project. Okie doke. So then we've got, oh, these are cute. Some little, like, legs, essentially. What are they called? Finial caps. But I've seen people use them as legs for, like, trays and such. Oh, this is fun. For the Love of Beading jewelry kit. Looks like you can put pictures and stuff in there. I have not made jewelry here on my channel, so we'll have to check that out. And then we have burlap cinch bags. Oh, those are cute. So there's 3 bags in there. Okay, so we've got bags, we've got jewelry maker, we've got finial caps, we've got craft with me board, and now we're gonna get into the challenge items. Oh boy. Oh my gosh, this is like the birdhouse kit. Somebody had a birdhouse kit, I feel like, a while ago. Build and paint wooden ship. Can you tell by my face that I'm just super excited? Honestly, the wood looks pretty nice. Like, that wood on the inside looks like a tag. So the wood pieces, there's like dowels in there. I think we can make this work. But maybe I'll just paint it and give it to Finn. I feel like that happens to half the stuff I buy, but I digress. Okay, so challenge 1, a little wood ship. Challenge number 2. What in the heck? Shut up, Shannon. What am I gonna do with this? Foam unicorn horns. Look, you can put it on your dog. Maybe Sebastian will get a new unicorn. Oh my god. This is a good one. This is a good one. Shannon, you got me. Okay. We're gonna think on that and figure out what in the world we're gonna do with that. A half-started project. They're little, gave me a really nice little gift here. You know what this looks like to me? It looks like the pumpkin in Halloween Town, like in the town square. Like the coloring, it looks so good. Maybe we'll make some Halloween things. I don't know. I'm gonna need a couple days to figure this out, especially those unicorn horns, because Shannon is good at the challenge items. Okay, so it's been a couple days and I've had a chance to think about all of the items that Shannon sent me. She got me with those unicorn horns. I could not get over the fact that the first time I looked at those, the first thing that popped into my head was the narwhal from Elf, the Christmas movie. You know what this looks like? Hey buddy, hope you find your dad. I haven't done a ton of Christmas movie inspired DIYs other than Christmas Vacation. That one is the outlier. I have a ton of that content. But I thought today I would challenge myself to take all of the items that Shannon sent me and make them over for Christmas movie, different ones, DIYs. So let's get into it and we will kick it off with my buddy, the narwhal.
So obviously I'm going to use one of these unicorn horns, and I also grabbed the pumpkin started project that she sent me. I started by trimming down the end of the unicorn horn just to make it a little shorter because it was a little too large for the size of pumpkin. And then I just took some gold paint. This is Arteza acrylic paint in the color gold. And I painted the entire unicorn horn and let that dry. While that was drying, I took some painter's tape and it taped off the wood piece at the bottom of the pumpkin just so when I was painting the pumpkin it wouldn't get blue. I had this on hand. This is usually the blue I use for my patriotic DIYs in the summertime. And I painted the entire pumpkin with 2 coats in this because I thought this was the perfect narwhal color. Then I removed my painter's tape and then used some hot glue to attach my narwhal horns so that I could kind of get a feel of where everything else needed to go. Then I decided he needed a little fin, so I have these foam sheets from Dollar Tree. I've had these for years. I don't know what I bought them for, but they've just been sitting in my stash. So the blue was a little too far off, so I just cut a little fin, but then I painted it with the same chalk paint so that it would match the pumpkin shape. Then I also went through with just a tad darker paint and painted some dots around the top, different size polka dots, to mimic the look of the narwhal from the movie Elf. I had the image from the movie where Buddy is going to leave to go find his dad, and so I used that as reference. Then when my fin was dry, I took the bottom and just glued it together so I could get a 3D effect, and then I added some glue to the outside and stuck it to either side of my narwhal. So he had 2 fins, one on either side. Then my original plan was to do kind of a side wave, so an eye and a little mouth like this, but when you looked at the entire picture, it just looked a little funky to me. So I decided to paint over the mouth and do 2 eyes on either side of the horn and then a mouth at the bottom, and I liked that version much better. I love this so stinking much. It is so cute. It turned out just how I wanted it, and I cannot wait to display this in Finn's room for Christmas. So I think here I can say challenge accepted and challenge conquered. Up next, we're going to use these little finial caps from the box along with one of these wood boards that I had in my stash. These are Arteza wood panels, and when I saw those and I was thinking about Christmas movies, it made me think about the Etch-a-Sketch from Elf. So the little finial caps are going to get 2 coats of white paint, and they're going to become our little handles for our Etch-a-Sketch. Then I'm painting the entire outside of my little panel as well as the back and the little edges red. Then when all that was dry, I just added some painter's tape and I used a medium gray paint so I could get the screen of my Etch-a-Sketch. Once that was all dry, I removed my tape, and then I couldn't find a file online that I could cut out on my Cricut with the Etch-a-Sketch logo. So instead I just decided to paint it on myself. So I printed out the logo in the size that I wanted, and then I'm just using some graphite paper behind it so that I could trace it onto my Etch-a-Sketch. If you don't have graphite paper, don't worry, just take a pencil and scribble on the back of the paper, just cover it up and then trace it, and then that will transfer as well. I then went through with my Arteza paint markers to write out the Etch-a-Sketch name at the top. And then I wanted something on the screen. I played around with the Etch-a-Sketch font, or faux font, I guess, but it wasn't really legible, and it also looked like a nightmare to weed. And so I actually found this file over at A Girl and Her Glue Gun. She had a whole pack of e.l.f. cut files, and so I just decided to purchase it because A, I love supporting other creators, and B, I had an idea for some other e.l.f. things coming up, and so I wanted to use some of those other files. I'm applying it here with my paper transfer tape from Expressions Vinyl so I don't peel up any of that gray paint I just put down. And then I just finished it off with some glue on the bottom of my little finial caps to make the little Etch-a-Sketch handles. And how cute! I am so proud of this one. This has to be one of my favorites in the entire video, but I really love this. This would also be super cute if you do like anything Toy Story themed. You could literally put whatever you want on the screen, but I love this saying. This is what he writes on the Etch-a-Sketch when he leaves, like, sorry I ruined your life, and I also shoved 11 cookies in the VCR.
Now, I thought forever on what I was gonna do with this wood boat DIY kit, and then it finally hit me.
So full transparency, I was winging this project from start to finish. I had kind of an idea, but then I was like, well, let's try this. And so this is creativity in Whitney's mind at its best. So I pulled out from this kit some random pieces that I thought would work for a little iceberg, but then I ended up making it the entrance to the candy cane forest. So while the stain was drying, I went through with 2 additional unicorn horns, and I painted some red stripes so that they looked like candy cane trees for the candy cane forest. My first one I painted it full size, and then my second one I just trimmed off the bottom so I could have a little bit of differentiation between the 2 tops of the trees. Then I brought in my dried little boat piece to be the base, and then I added candy cane forest with just a little arrow with some vinyl onto this little piece, which I then glued to another little post piece that was also from the wood boat kit to make just a little directional sign. Then I started arranging everything, so I got my trees where I wanted them, took some hot glue at the bottom and glued both them and my little candy cane forest sign onto my base. Then I waffled back and forth a lot on what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to leave that hole open where the mast would go if you were making a boat. And so I used the little dowel rod that was supposed to go in there, but instead of putting a sail, I had this sticker left over from the sticker video that I did recently on how to make stickers with your Cricut. And so I took this Buddy the Elf sticker that I made in that video, I stuck it to some Dollar Tree foam board, and then used an X-Acto knife to cut around the outside so that I could have my own little Buddy the Elf on my little candy cane forest setup. So I just took some hot glue to the back of that foam board and stuck it to the dowel rod so I could take him out if I want to. I could replace it with something else. But this is going to be so cute in Finn's room. I think I've decided I'm going to do a mini tree, elf themed, as well as some of these little DIYs that I've made here and there. I really love this. It definitely looks just like the scene from the movie, and it's giving me all of the Christmas vibes. Up next, we're going to make over this metal sign, and let me tell you, I wanted to do a lot of different Christmas movies, but I really just got on an elf kick here. Once my creative juices started flowing, I had all of these ideas for elf. So this one is going to be another elf project, but you could easily customize it to any movie that you want. We're going to make an advent calendar. So I created this design. The top says Santa's coming to town, and the bottom says Santa, I know him, with 25 through 1 for a countdown to how many days until Santa comes. So I cut this out on my Cricut with some matte black permanent vinyl. And then it took me a little bit to weed everything out. but it was so worth it. And then I also got an SVG that I purchased, which is a scalable vector graphic. But basically why you want an SVG is because it was already set up so that I could just cut out each of the different color pieces of Buddy the Elf. So you upload that file into Cricut Design Space and it will tell you what colors to load when. So it'll say put your green vinyl in, put your yellow, etc. And then all I had to do was match it up. I don't have any magic tricks for layering vinyl except for make sure there's something underneath all pieces of your vinyl or it's going to stick to your table. So like here I'm making sure that the arms are on some paper, on some of that like essentially transfer sheet, but I am not the most eloquent explaining it, but basically you just want to try to line it up the best that you can, which is what I'm doing here. So then it was time to apply to my sign. So I just took my one piece, which is my countdown, and I put it all the way over to the right of my sign. And then I took the bottom part minus the head of Buddy to get it lined up. And then once that was all applied, I did the same thing with his hair and his green and yellow and red from the hat. And then I just applied that onto the sign to complete it. My last step was I had one magnet left over from my fall magnets that I recently did. This is from Dollar Tree. I just decided this matched with the wood tones, so Finn's going to be able to slide that magnet to each of the days for the countdown until Santa comes for Christmas. Now, if you look at this, you could easily customize on the left-hand side whatever character you want to put there. If you're looking for a file that you can cut out, just search for whatever the character SVG. You can do it in Google or on Etsy, but you can't go wrong with whatever character you choose.
And my last item was this jewelry making kit, which for general DIYs is great, but how was I going to make this into something related to a Christmas movie?
So this project started with a 1x4 scrap piece of wood, and I went outside to cut it down into 5-inch pieces. Once I had my 7 pieces cut, I went through with my orbital sander and sanded everything down so it would take the stain. And then I stained all of the pieces in dark walnut by Minwax and let them dry. When they were dry, I stacked them up and they looked like this, which is this cute little book stack. Then I just took the font American typewriter and typed out Griswold Family Christmas, because you guys didn't think I was doing a Christmas movie video without doing some Griswold love here. So I applied them all justified to the right of the book. So Griswold Family Christmas, you can put whatever you want on it in whatever color. You could also handwrite this or use stickers or stamps. There's a lot of different options. And then I had to use my burlap bag, and so I wanted to add some texture to these books. So I cut up one of the bags and cut some strips of the burlap so I could wrap it around to hold them together. Then I just took some hot glue in the center of my pieces of wood to glue them together so they wouldn't move on me. And then I wrapped my burlap around like a ribbon. Then to add a little bit of festive color, I took some red and white yarn and I wrapped it around on top of the burlap, and then I tied it up towards the front. Now here is where the jewelry making kit comes in. So I took the little jewelry pieces and I went outside and tried to paint them black, but for some reason the nozzle clogged on my spray paint, so I had to do white instead, which actually worked out just fine. Then I followed the instructions in the package, which said you needed to size your images to about a 1-inch size. And then I used this little stencil that they had in there to cut out my little images. So for this first one, I did just a picture from Google Images. This is Clark Griswold. If you haven't seen National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, if you haven't, you should watch it. It's the best Christmas movie ever. I will wait here if you're going to fight me on it, but you will be wrong. And then I struggled a lot with this. Obviously, I haven't made jewelry before, but I was like reading the instructions and then trying to get these stickers. But basically, once you peeled off this protective sheet, you put this little square on top and then you stuck down your little protective thing on the front, and then that made your little jewelry. So if you use the jewelry kit regularly, you can put pictures and stuff on necklaces and bracelets and things, which is super fun. But I really like this application as well. I just used those tails of the yarn to tie on my little Griswold embellishment, and then I trimmed the ends and it was done. What I really like about this is having Chevy Chase's picture on the piece of decor. I had racked my brain for a couple days trying to figure out what I was going to do for those little pendants. I'm really happy with how these turned out. I also created one with some green and yellow yarn with the same process for Elf. Candy canes, candy corn, and syrup on that book stack as well. These are great for tiered trays. And if book stacks aren't your thing, if you're more a farmhouse bead person on your tiered tray, I have an idea for you as well. I took this round from Dollar Tree and stained it a dark walnut color. And then I cut out this decal that says, "Merry Christmas, you filthy animal," which you could probably guess what movie this is going to be based on. I'd cut that out in red and then use some transfer tape to apply it to my little wood round that I had stained. Instead of going the traditional wood bead route, I used these pom-poms and my doll needle, D-O-L-L. I'll link it down below. It's a 6-inch needle that you use for doll making, but I like it for my garlands because it's sharp enough that you can put on pom-poms like this. And these are, as you can see, a 4th of July bag that I didn't end up using all of them for my patriotic decor, so I decided to do a candy cane little motif. Then to finish off the one end, I decided to do a two-toned tassel. So I took some red yarn, wrapped it around this secondary wood round 25 times, and then I took an additional piece of yarn and tied it around the center. Then I cut the ends of those pieces to start to create my tassel. Then I repeated the same step with some white yarn, so 25 times around that same object. You can use whatever object that you have. I just find that I like a little bit thicker of a tassel than I can get wrapping it around my fingers. Tie that up the exact same way and trim the ends. Then I took my white grouping, split it in half, and laid it down. Then I took my red ones and trimmed the ends just a little bit, because if you leave them the same length, you're not going to be able to see the white in the tassel. Then I split them both in half and used the white little tails to tie the two of them together with the red on top of the white. And then once I tied that about 3 times, then I fluffed it up so that the red would cover all of the white yarn. The last step was to take a piece of red yarn, wrap it around the top a couple times, and give it a few knots so that it would stay and create the head of the tassel. Then I used the yarn ends to just do a simple knot onto the end of my pom-pom. Then my last step was to take my cute little Kevin McAllister photo charm and add that to the other end as well as my wood piece. And then I went through and just tied that a couple times so that it would be fixed on. I did take a little bit of hot glue and glue the pendant down to the wood because it was moving and it wasn't sitting correctly. So once I glued it, then I knew it was going to stay where I wanted it. The possibilities are endless with something like this. You could do it for Christmas movies. You could do it for really any movie. You could also put a saying on there. These would be pretty if you put something about a wedding. So put a wedding picture in there, put your wedding song, and had a little farmhouse bead thing. I honestly might grab some more of these kits for Christmas gifts because honestly, to put those pendants together was super, super easy. And I'm hoping that Shannon, the queen of Christmas, approves of all my DIYs.
So there you have it. I know that it is still September, but with that unicorn horn, I just had to go the route of Christmas movie DIYs. It might not be too early for you. Let me know down in the comments if you've already started Christmas DIYs. I will be starting soon. I've got some fun Halloween shenanigans the early part of October, and then we are going to be full-fledged Christmas here. So let me know down in the comments what you want to see for Christmas. What are the themes you're decorating in? Any info helps me so that I can make content that is the best relevant for you guys. A huge thank you to Courtney for always coordinating these videos. They were my absolute favorites. So fun. Huge thank you to Shannon for challenging the crap out of me with that box. And next up for you is Kristen's video over at Kristen K. So if you're on the playlist, it'll keep playing for you. If not, that link will be down in the description for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new and you enjoyed this, be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss my future content. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!